All right, everybody. What's up? Whew, Lord, Lord, Lord. It's been a long week, but I am here for this topic, y'all. I am here for this topic because you know what? I kind of think that we do need to talk about it. We need to talk about how a lot of these rich men are allowed to run around here willy-nilly, especially these rich pro athletes. How you have all this money, how you got all this money, but you want to sit up here and have all these kids and then have to pay child support. So come on, everybody, let's dig into it. What's up at Bits Me? Welcome. Let me go ahead. We gonna get it. We gonna get it. So let me go ahead and look at what I got going on here. I'm going to look at my people over here on Facebook. Hold on a second, y'all. Let me get that set up. Let me log in. Uh-oh, wait a minute. I did something here. Facebook. All right, got you guys over here. All right. So now let's jump right on into it, guys. I was reading an article, and this article came out back here in 2017. And it was kind of alarming to me because it was talking about 15 athletes with more kids than they can afford. So they had a whole list. They had Marshall Falk on here. Let's see, Ray Lewis, Vladimir Guerrero, Janoris Jenkins, Chad Johnson, Evander Holyfield, Larry Johnson, Willis McGahee, Jason Cape, Antonio Cromartie, Mike Tyson, Sean Kemp, Calvin Murphy, Terrell Owens, Travis Henry. So these are just a few of the athletes that they mentioned in this article. And once again, there could be more because, like I said, this article came out in 2017. And this article highlighted men, rich pro athletes with more kids than they can afford. And so here's the question that I have for you today. If you are rich, you're making millions of dollars, you got a lot to lose. Why would you, a man having everything to lose, why would you not consider vasectomy? And I think that this is a valid question because there's so many guys running around here. They pattern themselves after the lives of these athletes, right? They pattern themselves after them. But I think that a lot of these athletes are dumb jocks because they haven't been able to think straight. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people want to say no to the vasectomy. They say the vasectomies are permanent forms of sterilization for men. But I'm here to tell you that there are a lot of articles out here. There's a lot of information out here for a lot of you who are uneducated and don't know what you're talking about. But vasectomies are not, and I repeat, they are not permanent. They can be reversed. So now, why is it? Now, I can understand for the poor man, the men that don't have the money to afford the procedure. I can understand for those men why they would not consider vasectomy. But for rich men who can both afford to have a vasectomy and to reverse the vasectomy, I don't understand why these guys are on here, are even making the news for getting not one, not two, but three baby mamas. See, this is the stupidity that I'm talking about here. And see, now if I was any of these guys, publicists or whoever they work with, the image consultants, whatever, the PC guys, somebody should have worked with these guys and talked to them about this. Because I'm reading this article and I think one of the guys, hold on a second, let me go to the one guy that they were talking about. His name was Ray Lewis. They said future first ballot Hall of Fame linebacker Ray Lewis considers himself a devout Christian, but we're not 100% if that applies to the fact that he had 6 children with 4 different women. Come on now. Come on. So you're sitting up here with all this money. You're sitting up here with your career on the line. And you're going to have 6 children with 4 different women. Come on now. So now I have to sit here and I have to say the obvious, because you can't depend on the men to have this valid talking point, because all they're going to do is they're going to shovel the responsibility off on who? Who are they going to shovel the responsibility off on? They're going to shovel the responsibility off on the women that they sleep with who have nothing to lose. And to me, this argument has never made sense, because if you're rich, you're the one with all the money, you're the one with everything to lose. What in the hell is stopping you as a rich man from getting this procedure done? I heard that the snip part of it, as far as the actual first half of the procedure, the vasectomy, all they're doing is cutting the pans, what do they call it, the pans deferens, or don't get me quoting the wrong thing, but it's just literally a snip, and it's an outpatient procedure, guys. You can actually go home afterwards, so it's not really as big a deal as a lot of guys like to make it out to be. So if it's not that hard of a procedure, being a rich man with everything to lose, why aren't these guys getting the nip? Let's see what you guys are talking about. Hey, what's going on? What's up, Sister George? Who is this? Chef Disaster says, if you don't mind, can I help you lose control? Oh, you sitting up here still singing a song. Yellow Rose says, I know one dude who only married this white chick he was fooling with because he knocked her up, and he is on his 7th or 8th kid. Oh, wow. See, this is what I'm talking about. I don't know if the guy that you're talking about, if they're rich or not, but I'm talking specifically about these rich men who have everything to lose. Just like a lot of these movie stars, they're in the same bag, the same trick bag. Any black man, especially, and I'm not just talking about rich men, but in particular, rich black men, because it seems as if they become the prime targets. And I know why, because everybody knows that black men don't like to wear condoms. Black men don't get the vasectomies. So when you sit up here and you see all these white women and non-black women going after these rich celebrities, these rich ball players, they go after them because they know this about them. Our black men, the ones that make it to that limelight, they're the ones that are not being told to go get these vasectomies. They're the ones that are not being told, or I don't know if they probably were told. I mean, I heard that in the NFL, a lot of these coaches, they go out of their way to warn these guys about what goes on in the industry, and yet they still go out here and raw dog everybody they can raw dog. It's stupidity. At Bixby says they're cowards. I can believe it, but here's my thing: why don't they just get some sort of education about the vasectomies? I looked it up. It took me no more than about 5 minutes to find out the information. The first part of it, getting the vasectomy, they said that in and of itself is easy. It's just basically a snip. I think they said maybe a 15-20 minute procedure and you're back home. So vasectomy costs. Getting a vasectomy can cost anywhere between 0 and 1,000, including follow-up visits. What? The cost of a vasectomy varies and depends on where you get it, what kind you get, and whether or not you have health insurance that will cover some or all of the costs. Vasectomies may be totally free or low cost with some health insurance plans, Medicaid, and other government programs. I didn't know Medicaid covered vasectomies. I would have to even look further into that, because now if that's the case, that's a whole other can of worms. But let me read on. Even if your vasectomy costs more than other methods up front, it usually ends up saving you money in the long run because it lasts forever. Vasectomies are about 6 times cheaper than female sterilization. Didn't know that. All right, so that was a Planned Parenthood article. Let me see if I can find a different source here, because I like to have more than one source. Let's see here. How much does a vasectomy cost near me? Vasectomy risk and benefits. Okay, here we go. How much does a vasectomy cost? Policy Genius. We're going to get to the bottom of this, ladies. Let's see what we come up with here. What is the vasectomy? The pros and cons. Uh-oh, hold on a second. No thanks. They always want you to. Okay, here we go. How much does a vasectomy cost? How much will a vasectomy run you? We compare prices using Amino. Below is the average vasectomy cost with health insurance in each state's major metro area based on Amino's network rate, defined as an estimate of the pre-negotiated amount that your providers might bill your insurance for care. All right, so let's see what it says here. Average cost with health insurance. So they got the different states here, guys. So if you live in Alabama, Birmingham metro area, the average cost of a vasectomy in Alabama is $1,680. Okay. Let's see here. How much does it cost in California? California says $2,970 for a vasectomy. If you're in Alabama, let's see, I'm in Arizona. The average cost of a vasectomy in Arizona is $2,541. $41.80. That's what it says. $2,541. Let's see, down here in Florida, the average cost of a vasectomy in Florida is $1,777.50. In Georgia, the Atlanta metro area, $2,213.80. Illinois, Chicago metro area, $2,279.60. Indiana, $2,544. Okay, so it looks like the average cost of a vasectomy would be approximately $2,500, upwards to close to $4,000. That's what it's looking like. New York, the average cost is $2,671.50. New Jersey, $2,663. That's the average cost in New Jersey. Nevada, $2,076. That's it for Nevada. Rhode Island is, I think Rhode Island's the cheapest, $1,566. It's not bad. So, you know, I'm just going through a few of the states, and Wisconsin is $2,737.57. So there you go, ladies. This is the average cost. I'm looking at, it looks like to me is running anywhere between, at the lowest, $1,500, median $2,500, and at the most close to $4,000. That's the average cost of a vasectomy. Let me go back to you guys. Let me see. Stop sharing my screen here. All right, I'm back. So now that we know what the average cost of a vasectomy is, to me, that isn't a whole hell of a lot of money. I know some guys that are not even rich that spend more money on rims for their car. Honestly. So basically, the average cost of a vasectomy is about the same as what a guy would pay to put rims all the way around his car. And these are poor guys. So I might have to actually rethink my thinking about the vasectomy, because if that's all it costs, and you guys are in line, standing in line to buy Jordans for $500, you guys are standing in line to buy Jordans, you guys are putting $1,000 rims all the way around your car. Why not? So many black men out here complaining. So many of you out here complaining, talking about child support kicking your behind. $1,500 to $4,000 will fix it, and it's reversible. So that means that if you're unmarried, if you want to run around here pumping women raw, which is nasty, why not? I want to know why not. If there are any men out here listening, why don't you tell me why not? Let me see here. I'm even going to I'm going to drop the link down here. Somebody come up here and tell me why not. Why not get the vasectomies? But anyway, while we're waiting, I want to go back to these professional athletes though. We got hold on a second. Here's the other. We had the first one was Marshall Faulk. And once again, he had 6 children, 4 baby mamas. Now let's look at Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis, future first ballot Hall of Fame linebacker. Ray Lewis considers himself no, that was Ray Lewis, the one with the 6 kids with the 4 different baby mamas. My bad. Marshall Faulk, he's a Hall of Fame running back, and he's the only player in the history of the NFL to amass 12,000 yards rushing and 6,000 yards receiving. He was a 3-time winner of the Offensive Player of the Year award and won the league's MVP award in 2000. Unfortunately, Faulk hasn't quite had the same success when it comes to the ladies, though. Sure, he did father 6 children with 4 different women. So again, this is another one. 6 kids, 4 different women. This is beginning to be some sort of trend. And let me make sure that I'm reading this right, because this was Marshall Faulk. And then they said the same thing about Ray Lewis. 6 kids, 4 different women. What the hell? 6 and 4, twice. What the hell? What in the hell? So let's go. Faulk hasn't quite had the same success when it comes to the ladies. Sure, he did have 6 children with 4 different women, but he hasn't exactly had fairy tale relationships with any of those women. Faulk's former girlfriend, Helen Doon, who was the mother of 3 of his children, accused him of domestic violence, but he was acquitted of those charges, to be fair. He also has a son with the former wife of NBA player Derek Fisher, and was married to a woman named Lindsay Stout for 8 years before the two got a divorce. At one point, it was reported that Faulk was paying as much as $15,000 a month in child support payments. So, guys, I just can't with these people. I can't. I just can't. What's up, Third Ward? Third Ward says, I'm not currently rich, but I'm definitely on my way there, and I'm definitely considering the title of this video as Faith. Yeah, because like I said, if you are the one with all the money and everything to lose, why not? You know, if I was a guy and I knew that there were all these so-called money-hungry women, because I do believe it. You know, I do believe that there's a lot of validity to what a lot of these guys say about the women using babies to get money. But I think that it becomes an issue with the more money the men have. Because now on the poor spectrum of women just getting knocked up with by the regular Pookie and Ray Ray, I don't think that they're doing it for the money, but definitely these white and non-black women and some of these black women that pray, and I am saying pray, after these rich pro ball players and celebrities. I do think that they are definitely going for a money grab. So with this knowledge in mind, why haven't these guys thought to themselves, you know what? There's this procedure called a vasectomy. It's totally reversible. So if I want kids later on down the line, I'm rich. I can afford to reverse it just like that. Boom. Problem solved. You will not have all these articles with these white women and non-black women, especially because they're the main ones who are guilty of doing this. They're the main ones. While a lot of you like to sit up here and bash on black women, but a lot of these guys, these celebrities, they got a lot of white baby mamas sitting up here getting these alimony and child support payments. So why not? Why not protect yourselves? That beats me exactly. The rich men do have more to lose. Yellow Rose of Texas says sterilization bothers me, but it's better than a dusty dude creating children he will not take care of. Exactly. And to be perfectly honest, I don't think it's permanent sterilization. I believe that it is a much effective form of sterilizing a man until he's ready to have children. And I think that it gives him power. It puts power back into the man's hands. And you know, a lot of times before when I had bought this up, a lot of guys gave me a lot of pushback on my Facebook page. A couple of guys, I had posted this on my Facebook, and a couple of guys, they kind of got offended, you know, because they said, "Oh, you know, it is our duty to populate the earth." This is what one guy posted on my Facebook. It's our duty to populate the earth. And I'm just looking at that comment like, really? But these are the same people. These are the same men, Mr. Duty to populate the earth. They're pretty outraged when you give them a solution on how to control their penis better, but they're completely outraged when you give them the solution. So now I'm just looking out here. I'm going to put the link out here again. Any men out there that want to dispute me, anybody that thinks that Faith is crazy, come on up. Take the link. Take the link. Because, see, I get sick and tired of you all running up in these chat rooms, want to bash on black women, want to bash on single motherhood, want to bash on and say that single motherhood is the problem, but you guys do not want to be part of the solution. Yellow Rose says to populate the earth with their dust. Hold on a second. I got to throw that up on the screen. That's funny. Yellow Rose said to populate the earth with their dust. God made plenty of dust in deserts. They aren't needed for that. What's up, SC the bestie? Yeah, I agree. I agree. And this is the thing, you know, they don't want the solutions, guys. You know, I have come to the conclusion a long time ago that, you know, any solution oriented or based conversation is just out of here. Miss J's in the house. Hold on a second. Let me add Miss J to the stream. Hold on a second. Hello, Miss J.
Hello, hello, Faith. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing good, girl. So, what do you
Yeah,
think of this topic, lady?
I think the main reason why they don't want to have a vasectomy is because they're worried that their sex life is going to be harmed. They won't have as good a sex drive or sex feelings as before. That's the main thing. I don't even think it's about cost.
Hmm.
And a lot of these people, no, not to be rude, they're kind of degenerates. And when you have degenerates, that's their main focus is on whatever their vice is. It's not about anything else. You can have all the common sense in the world. It does not apply to them. It's their main vice. So if your main vice is screwing, that's going to take precedence over everything else.
You're right. Because, I sit up here and I listen to a lot of these guys, the Obsidians. Who else was it? Mr. Fantastic. A lot of these guys, they sit up here and they discuss single motherhood. They discuss what it is that Black women need to do. Oh yeah, earlier on O'Shea was talking about a post in the Negro Manosphere where this lady was even talking about how Black men, their sperm can actually throw off the pH balance of a woman's vagina, and they wanted to ride this woman and talk about her pussy stank. Oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say the P word. I wonder if they're going to flag me for that. But, different things of that nature. They're not interested in any type of solutions for anything. Anytime you throw up anything, whether it's backed by science or whether it's just backed by logic, there's always this huge amount of pushback for everything.
Yeah,
Everything
anything that
falls on the woman.
yeah, anything that interferes with their ultimate goal, which is the orgasm, they don't care to hear about it. And
Absolutely.
once you understand that, everything else makes sense. Because you're right, there is options out there for them to not have to be dealing with, like you said, 16,000 kids and 5,000 baby mamas where you're going broke. There's an easy solution that they can go ahead and fix, no problem. But again, they put their vice, which is basically sex, above everything else.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, it's not like I haven't heard their side of the argument. I've heard them say over and over again, okay, well, not black women, but women in general, we have all these different forms of birth control. But my argument has always been for the last 5 years, I've been on here arguing with these guys. If you are the ones complaining about the child support, because I'm not saying that there aren't some women out here that don't have some bad, intentions in mind when they get pregnant with these guys. So if you know that there are women out here that don't have good intentions, why would you then trust this woman to be on birth control? That their reasoning does not make any sense to me. It just doesn't. Why
Yeah,
would you
it's not.
why would you sit up here and give that woman that much power? They give women too much power, in my opinion. But let me see, who was this? SC the Bestie says, and they think that it will make them less manly, even though they don't even want kids. Exactly.
So I'm saying a lot of these people, they already have kids. Again, it's only about they just want an orgasm. They don't want anything to interfere with that. A lot of these people have multiple kids. They're not afraid of not having kids. They just don't want the sensation to be lessened. That's the only thing they care about.
Now we have Chaz B98 here. She says they want kids, they don't want to take care of them. Mm. So basically, you're saying that they really want the kids that they complain about, but they just don't want to take care of them? That's interesting. I never thought about it from that angle. But yeah, just even with the guy that was on my Facebook, he seemed to be very offended when I brought up the whole sterilization point, as far as rich men being able to afford it. He was just like, no, we're supposed to populate the earth. This is our job to populate the earth. Now, I've seen this guy in several other chat rooms before. This was the same guy saying that women are pretty much, black women are pretty much the downfall of the black community because we lay up and we let these men enter us raw and have these out of wedlock babies. But now he's saying in response to me saying that they need to get sterilized, that it's their responsibility to populate the earth. Can you make that make sense?
But the entire argument never makes any sense because these are the same men who don't want to get married. They don't want to wait for a woman to vet her to see whether or not she has a good character in order to sleep with her. They want to sleep with her on the first or the second date. They don't want to use the birth control that's available to them. They want to put it on the woman. But then they get mad when there's out of wedlock birth rates, what's going to happen if you never get married and you're still having a whole bunch of sex, especially unprotected. And then they don't want to stick around and raise the kids that they have. So therefore, the children are not going to have a great outcome. So when you look at all of their arguments logically, none of it makes sense.
Not at all. Now, Bellywink just said that someone named Chief Keef has 12 baby mamas and never paid child support.
Yeah, but I'm saying when you're dealing with someone like that at that point in time, it's not just a man. If you're a woman and you keep going after someone like that, and you know this person's history, I say it's a two-part issue, and I don't feel bad for anybody who's dealing with a baby daddy when he has three other baby mamas. I mean, 3 strikes you're out. It should be 1, but 3 strikes you're definitely out. 12, you're just a fool. I don't feel sorry for you. You got your own issues. Don't come to me talking about nothing. You chose this foolish path. You got to walk it alone with whoever that fool is.
Exactly. And I agree with you on that point because there are a lot of women that are in so much competition with each other over these dusty Negroes. I mean, these guys are dusty. I mean, if you sit up here and you see a guy has 12 baby mamas and a whole bunch of kids, something in the back of your mind should click that this is a compromised man. He's not going to be able to take care of you or any children that he puts in you. So at that point, he's damaged goods. Now, men talk about women being damaged goods, but let's talk about some of these men that are damaged goods. Men
and
that
also,
have 12 baby mamas damaged goods.
I'm saying to me also, I find that that's almost like a form of a hood sperm bank because you know full well he has the ability to have babies. He's willing to make a baby with you. You ain't got to pay him nothing. Just, you want to have a kid. You don't want that person to be around. And it's just like, okay, this is a guy I can do it with. And I think there's a lot of women, especially in the black community or the poor community, where they go around that hood sperm bank. They know full well this person is not going to stick around. He don't care. He ain't going to pay nothing. But you want a baby. So that's who you go to.
Exactly. And I like how you put it, the hood sperm bank. That's exactly what it is. I heard that there was a segment of the black lesbian population that are doing something is similar to what you were just saying with the hood sperm.
Yeah, it is. And also, if you go on Facebook, there's a group that's called Single Mother by Choice. And if you just type in that term, you're gonna have a whole bunch of groups. That's all they do. That's all they're looking for. Literally, is someone to knock them up. And they'll sit there and say, "Don't worry about it. I'm not gonna come after you for child support. You ain't gotta raise a kid. If you want to, be involved, I'll give you some pictures on, when the kid has a birthday or something like that. But other than that, you ain't gotta do the heavy lifting. I just want you to give me a baby." There's a large number of women like that. It ain't just in the hood either. It's like a growing thing.
But let me ask you, what do you think is the percentage of black women that actually have children on purpose?
Well, the data says half of our pregnancy unintended, so half of them would be intended. I don't know how many of those intended pregnancies are women going to the hood sperm banks, but I would say it's a large percentage. They just don't talk about it.
And that's what I think too. It's half and half. And you're right. They don't talk about it because they're embarrassed, and they should be embarrassed and ashamed of themselves if they're doing this on purpose. There's no way that anybody should bring babies into the world and not be able to take care of them.
Yeah. But also one of the things I think that people especially don't understand about the black community, about the child support thing, the vast majority of black women do not go to family court for child support. How black men end up on child support because women can't afford the kids, so they go to the state for help, such as TANF well, TANF, what do you call it, WIC, and then they also do it for like food stamps and stuff. And then the state goes after the man to repay that money. But they don't go to the state and say, hey, this person's not paying the money. I need you to have him pay child support. That's not how the men get on child support. The vast majority don't get on child support like that.
Oh
And
wow.
that's one of the reasons why the states had to sit there and say, I need you to name the father. Because what happened was a lot of black women would just go into the state saying, I need some help, and they wouldn't name the father. So the state didn't know who to go after. Then they changed the rules and said, no, we need a father. And then we're going to go after him. And that's how a lot of men end up on child support. People don't talk about that part.
You know what? I have talked about it because that was, I think that rule came by with Bill Clinton's welfare
Yeah,
reform.
the welfare reform, because it was a huge problem. And also with the welfare reform, it also said we're only going to pay for like one or two of your children. By the third one, we ain't paying nothing extra. And the
Exactly.
black women's birth rate dropped because they were like, wait a minute, I can't have these kids and no one's going to pay for it. So a lot of behavior was changed by the Welfare Reform Act. People are still going back to what happened before that, and they're not doing the updated information.
So you think that because they did the welfare reform, that this is the reason why the birth rate dropped in the black
Yeah,
community?
yes, yes. Look at
And
the birth rate before the welfare reform, which I think was 94, and then you look at it after. It's a huge change.
and you know what? I kind of do believe that because the sexual revolution of the 70s, it did
Hmm.
something different for white women than it did for black women. Because I
It
believe
did.
with white women, they began to become more promiscuous during the sexual revolution when they found out that they didn't have to marry those guys. 'Cause remember back in the 60s when they were doing the shotgun weddings, and
Yeah.
there were a lot of white women committing suicide because they didn't want to get married.
Yeah.
And then after the 70s, when white women started having access to abortions, when they started feeling
Hmm.
like they didn't have to marry those guys, then they became more sexually promiscuous. And then on
Right.
our side, when they gave us welfare, that's when we became more sexually promiscuous. So I think you're onto something.
Yeah, because basically you didn't really pay a penalty. Because in the black community, if you have a child, you're gonna get praised whether you're married or not. There's no shaming it. No one really. I mean, people in the outside community are gonna talk, and sometimes some black people will talk because it looks embarrassing to everybody else. But for the most part, if you go to your best friend, if you go to your parents, or you go to especially your mother, and you say, "Hey, I'm knocked up," for the most part, they'll be mad for a little bit, and then they're gonna because not because you're not married, it's because they have to help raise the kid and pay for it, which usually we can't afford. But they don't really talk about how dare you have a kid and not being married. That stopped decades ago. So that wasn't the shaming part. That works in like the Asian community. That works more in the white community. Less and less now. But for many years, that did not work in the black community. The only thing that worked was the economics.
Okay, so now should we actually be on board with and sort of agree with these guys then that it's us that had been driving this whole thing with the black community going down in smoke because of
No, it's
rising single
no. No, it's not. The difference is both sides know what they're doing, but neither side wants to change. You know what I'm saying? Like with black women, we know basically that if you know, everybody knows from the ages of preteen on how babies are made. If you really want to stop having babies being made, you know how to do it. You just don't have the penalties to not go ahead and do it the way we do it. Because like again, marriage for a lot of black women is never going to happen simply because there's millions more of us than them, and also with our community, we don't value marriage and having a child for a man and a woman. It is a biological urge. It ain't a biological urge to necessarily raise them, but to at least reproduce. That is something that's innately driven in all creatures. You have to actively try not to, and some people just don't want to put in the effort.
That's true. So now, what do you think about the educational rate of our children as far as like how our children are competing with other children? It seems as if here in the United States, Our
Hmm.
children in their academia, their reading and math scores are the lowest, and I'm talking
Yeah.
about the lowest in the nation.
Yeah. But there's a very, very good reason that no one talks about, because again, we don't have two parent households. Someone has to work. And the work that a lot of black women do is physically, emotionally, mentally draining. And when a lot of times they're also working two part-time jobs or a full-time job and a part-time job. So when you get home, you don't really have the energy to be dealing with no kid and having them sit there and focus the whole time to do their homework. That's a lot of time and a lot of effort. A lot of black women just don't have it. I'm not saying it's a it's an excuse. I'm just saying that's the main reason. They really just do not have the time and the energy to put in to the children to raise them the way they should be. That's why the children are generally raised by TV. They're raised by friends. They're raised by the grandma, and the black women just don't have the energy and the time to do like the Asians do. When you look at how much homework time that the Asians do, that's hours and hours and hours.
Yes,
They
I've
do stuff like
seen.
on the, they do stuff on the weekend. They're doing stuff during the summer. I mean, it's hard work. So, but I'm saying if you're doing like say a CNA job where you're physically moving around older people all the time, when you get off, you're exhausted. The last thing you want to do is come home and battle a 7-year-old.
But now
And
what?
that's the main reason.
But now what do you think? Because I agree with you because I have had to raise my children pretty much on my own. And when I was out there working, you're right. The energy that you have when you get home after working 8, 9, 10 hours a day, and then if you have more than one child that you have to check
Mm-hmm.
for, and then you might have a child with a particular learning disability. I have a child that I raised that has Asperger's, and she
Mm-hmm.
had a severe learning disability, but she was able to overcome it. And today she is the head teacher at a school.
Yeah.
So,
And
I
also think about it.
work to get her there, though. It's a lot of work that I put
It
in.
is, but I'm saying when you think about it, also boys have a lot more energy than girls do. That's one of the reasons why in America's system right now, the girls are doing so much better across the board than boys, because the way that we teach them, it basically depends on the children sitting down, being quiet, and absorbing the knowledge. We don't really take the time to focus on a little kid who can't focus, to have a learning system tailored to someone with a short attention span who has lots of energy. So that's one of the reasons why boys just don't do as well. So I'm saying if you're already exhausted and you come home and dealing with someone who can't sit still for more than 2 minutes, you're really not going to continue to keep doing it. I'm sorry. I mean, most people are not going to continue. There are some who can
Right.
do it,
I was
but
just going to say, now I did it. I was tired a lot of
yeah,
days. I'm not going to lie, but I still had to do it.
yeah.
But I want to welcome some of the people coming into the chat room. I see Deity is in the house. Queen Asheba is in the house. Let me see who else is in here. Divine Beauty is in the house. Chaz B98, Organic Black. Welcome, everybody. If you want to take the link, please feel free. This is an open panel. But now, Miss J, you are a very intellectual woman, and I know that you have seen this 2016 CDC opinion survey where they surveyed 4,000 men, and they found that Black men were the most involved fathers of all. Now tell me, how could it be that if Black men are the most involved fathers of all other men, why are our children still suffering?
Because people lying.
Could you
That's all it is. They're
say
lying.
they're lying? That's what
That's
I
all it is. Because the proof is in the pudding. There is no way that you can be the most involved. Ain't no way. You're either the most ineffectual fathers on the planet, or you're lying. That's the only two options.
that's the
Period.
exact same thing that I said because they surveyed 4,000 men of different races, and of that 4,000, I think they surveyed a little under 1,000 Black men, and their girlfriends. They were all unmarried men. Now, if somebody walks up to you, Miss J, if you have children, I don't know if you have children, but if someone walked up to you and said, "Hey, do you think you're a good mother?" What are you gonna say?
You're gonna agree. No one's gonna publicly admit to a complete stranger, "Hey, I'm a shit parent. I really don't care."
Right.
You're
That's
not gonna admit that.
exactly. That's the reason why I said that whole CDC opinion. And once again, they even call it an opinion survey.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
And
So
you
for
didn't do any follow up. You didn't ask the parents, the teachers, "Hey, have you ever seen this father?" You asked the child, "Hey, when was the last time he actually called you and read to you over the phone?" All you doing is asking someone a survey, and they can answer whatever way they want to, and you know full well no one's gonna follow up. You're gonna lie.
exactly, absolutely. All right, we just got a new person to enter the panel. Black Princess, how are you? Welcome to the stream. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Black Princess. Welcome to the stream. And what do you have to offer to the conversation?
I'm not gonna be here long. I'm just gonna be short about it. I was just hearing you guys' conversation about, men talking about, being involved in their children's lives. Um, I have friends that are single mothers and their child is not, well, the father is not in their child's life at all. And what happens when these men don't involve in their boys' lives, their boys start to pick up feminine traits because their moms are raising them. And when a man, get these feminine traits, he's gonna feel like he has some entitlement because he was raised by females or his mom, treat him better than his sisters. And so when he goes out and look for a woman, he's gonna expect the woman to, pay the date for him, and he's and and he's gonna expect something out of it. But you know, here's the problem with this. As women, we have to choose our men selectively because this whole single mother, propaganda, we have to come to a standstill because too many Black women are do not are can do not have the support of their partners because their partners were not committed in the first place. So
Yeah, you do have to ask
as
someone before you have the child, do they want it?
Exactly. You
exactly, and that's what happened to my friend. She's a single mom now. I don't know if they planned this. They were never married. I wasn't in their sexual relationship, but the dad is in jail now. He's going to be in jail for the rest of his life. So now the she has a little boy, and that little boy does not have the right male figure or doesn't have a male figure at all in his life. So that boy is going to grow up not knowing what it's like to be a man.
wow.
But to be honest with you, you can. I'm not saying it's ideal, but this idea that if you're a single mother, automatically that your child is going to be doomed to just have all these problems, that's actually not the case. You, as a woman who's raising a child, you're just going to have to work harder.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can do it successfully. There are plenty of people who are raised in a single parent, whether it be the father or just the mother, who are very productive people. But you have to be willing to put the work in. And I think too many people, they're just out there willy nilly having a kid. It's like, oh, okay, I got knocked up. Well, it's a blessing. And then after the kid gets there, they're like, oh shit, what do I do now? You can't have that mindset. That's why I firmly believe that you need to plan all of your children, whether you're married or not. Don't have these oops surprise babies. Because we
Exactly.
don't have the structure to deal with that kind of stuff. It used to be where you had the extended family, where you had the child care, you had someone to help, who even moved inside the house to help you, so forth and so on. We don't really have that anymore. So you have to be very, very, very careful when you have every single one of your kids. And that's the part that needs to be stressed, because stressing out there, especially in the situation we have, oh, wait until you're married. Well, not trying to be mean. You may be waiting for a long time, probably forever.
That's true. And and that's the one thing that I have noticed, that we put too much stress on, policing the vaginas of Black women, but we do not put enough stress on family planning, period. And that goes for both boys and girls, men and women. Because it seems to me like if we're giving the women one message, keep your legs closed, then the message should also be the same or similar for the boys. So let's discuss why that isn't happening. Anybody have any ideas?
Why
Ladies?
it's only why it's only taught to the woman?
Right. Why is it only being taught to the woman? Why is it only being put on the girls? Like, we're raising our girls. Because remember when you were growing up, they used to always tell us, the girls, that we were too fast. They put a lot on us, not to, being too enticing, to this, to that, keep your legs closed. But the boys were not pretty much taught anything. No, nothing was ever put on them. And so I'm wondering, why is that?
I could be wrong, but I think for that part, I believe that they believe that women are more sexually promiscuous and more out there. That's probably why they put more pressure on the women, because I believe that we're more likely to have a kid and raise it than a male. So
Exactly.
I guess that's more of a responsibility, on us than the men.
Exactly. You hit the nail right on the head, Black Princess. Because we are the ones that carry the babies and we're the ones that bring the babies back home, they put more of the responsibility on the girls than they did on the boys. But we have a new person to join the channel. This is Chef Disaster.
Yeah, Chef Disaster. Greetings, ladies.
Thank you for joining the panel, and please let us know, what do you have to say about this topic.
Um, I'm not biased on the topic. I definitely think men need to step up. They need to be the more of the responsible person, because the woman do carry the bulk of the load when it comes to childcare. You know what I'm saying? So if at least the bare minimum supply, make sure you're doing your part financially, even if you're not in the child's life. Financial is a big part of the child growing and having progress. Every child should have both parents, but we don't live in that kind of world. People make the wrong decisions and leave the kids to suffer. But with that being said, you still should be financially bonded to that child for the rest of his life, or his young adult life, for that matter.
That's true. That's absolutely right.
But I think it's also because it's just simply easier to control girls and women than it is men and boys. It's more effective. It's
You
less effective in our community, but it's more effective. If you try to, you can easier control a woman than you can a man. So it's both things together. Yes, the women are the one who actually carry the babies. They're the ones that actually raise the babies, but it's easier to control than it is a man.
but do
Because a
you
man can knock up 100 women easy.
Well, that's the
It's
mind.
kind of hard to control that aspect, because you can't put them on lockdown 24/7.
Well, I
true?
think that's the mindset of the women. Mostly where I come from, where that's how you're being raised. That's how you're being taught.
I
You
know
know.
what I'm saying. That's society. It's not a man or a woman thing. I'm just saying, society wise, it's easier to control the women than it is the men. So
Hmm.
that's it's a two-part thing. That's why it's
But now,
mainly put on women.
right? Do you think that's right or
No, no, I'm just saying, but that's just what it is. That's why it's done. It's not necessarily about being right.
okay? I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, and like Yellow Rose of Texas says, it's probably tradition, because like you said, the women are the ones. I think it was Beauty. I think she dropped off, but she was saying because no, it was you that was saying that the girls are the ones that get pregnant. So I agree with that wholeheartedly. But here's
Yes,
the
you have to also remember back in the day there was no such thing as a DNA test. So if you were a single woman and you said I only had sex with this man, he's the father, all he had to do was say no, I'm not. And how would you prove differently? Nowadays you can because it's DNA tests. But I'm saying back in the day, you had no way of making a rogue man take responsibility because all you need to do was say no, I'm not responsible.
That's true. Chaz B98 says more women need to drop babies off with the daddy and disappear. They want custody anyway.
Oh, I firmly believe that.
But
Especially
see,
when that boy becomes 7 and older, honey, you need to go ahead and say, listen, I did my part. He's no longer an infant. He's no longer a toddler. You need to go ahead and do the rest.
but I don't know that they want custody now. I think
They
that
don't, but they need to get it.
yeah, they need to get it, but they don't really want custody. They don't
Of
want the
course not.
they really don't. Like me, it costs more money when you're the custodial parent raising a child than if you were just paying child support.
For sure. By
And
a large percentage.
Hmm.
People who
I,
don't
I,
raise children don't realize how expensive they are. It goes way beyond diapers and formula. Children cost a lot of money.
hmm I like when the parents have a good situation where they can split the time with the kid. One part of the year they're with the mom, and then the second part of the year they're with the dad. I've seen a lot of situations where that worked out for the better.
Yeah.
but now, do you think that it's hard for men to get custody or to get joint custody, Joe? I mean, Chef the Disaster.
I think it's hard because raising a child is very attentive. Like you really got to be in that kid's life, and men have a different attention span. I'm gonna just say that.
Well, what do you mean by they have a different tension span?
Um, like sports, hanging out, just they don't let go of their younger living. Like women mature faster is what I'm saying.
Okay, I got you. I agree with that. Now, for some reason or another, you're absolutely right. I think that if men were forced to take their children, there would be a whole lot of kids being neglected, left at home alone. There would be guys running the street, bringing random women through the house, kids seeing about 15 different women in a month. So I think you're absolutely right, and you're onto something there.
It would be, but if you had that child protective services on their neck, like it's on women, that behavior would change. People only respond to pressure. Not all. Some people respond because it's a good thing to do. It's the right thing to do. But some people only respond because you're basically saying, "Hey, if you don't do this, I'm gonna put your ass in jail." That's why more and more people are paying child support. That's why more and more people now want to have 50-50 custody. Not because necessarily they want to raise the kid, they just don't want to have the money come out of their check or go to jail. So if you have the right kind of policies in place, you can change a lot of behaviors. That's the same reason why the birth rate with black women stopped having 15 kids. Because the state basically said, hey, we'll pay for the first one. Maybe we'll help with the second one. But that third one is all on you. Now,
Exactly.
you ain't going to find a lot of black women with a whole bunch of kids no more. Because, again, the policy changed. If you change the policy, you will change behavior.
You are exactly right. Joe W. says the custodial parent has a much heavier burden put upon them, both financially and emotionally, as opposed
And
to
physically and
non-custodial.
mentally. Yeah. There's a
Yeah,
lot of women out there who would love to just write a check every month. And that's all they had to do. They would love that situation. You can still be the parent, you get all the accolades, but all I gotta do is write a check. I'll get a second job if I can do that. A lot of black women would say that, but they have to come home and still do all of the other work Everything that the child does is on them. They are the sole responsible person, and that's a very huge burden to put on somebody. So I don't
Absolutely.
feel sorry. I don't feel sorry for people crying about, oh, I got to pay a whole bunch of child support. Okay, you still not paying for the majority cost of the child, except for the very rich men. And
But you
also,
know,
you can afford to have nannies and everything else like that. You're not really doing the work of raising the child. You're writing a check, which you can afford.
absolutely. Now, one thing that Joe said that stuck out to me was the emotional, because it is emotionally draining. Because not only do you have to put up with your own stuff, but then you have these kids, their hormones are changing. They're going through their what do you call it? The puberty.
Yeah.
Okay, now I if you've never raised a kid going through puberty, that is an emotional time, and I'm
Yes.
talking about especially the girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
People
girl,
don't know whether it's
Mhm.
more traumatic for the child to go through puberty or the parent to raise the child through puberty. Because you think back on what you went through and how you treated your parents, probably not the best. So, do
no,
you want to be on the opposite end? Probably not. So,
I,
yeah,
I actually called my mom and I apologized to her after after
yeah.
after seeing three girls through puberty. I called my mom
Hmm.
and was like, "Mom, I am so sorry. I
Yeah.
completely understand what you were going through, and I
Yeah.
am so sorry."
My sister's going through that right now. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's so true. I mean, my two daughters, I got two. Well, my first one, we were still together, but my second daughter, my youngest daughter, when she called me for a period, I mean, she was just like so embarrassed. It's just she just turned into a different person. Her mother said, but I just think it is a big burden, for the woman if she's by herself to go through those things alone.
Absolutely. Chaz B98 says something interesting here. She says the courts are run by men. Now, this is a new one. She says when they actually try, men almost always get what they want. These men lie. A lot of women don't know this and lose their children. Research it. Hmm. Interesting, because a lot of the
But
guys are saying that women run the system.
no, it's not. The main reason about the family court that people have not caught on yet is that these people who are usually the well-off people, they're not trying to pay for your orgasm. They want you to pay it, and they don't care what your life story is. At the end of the day, someone needs to pay for these kids. You nutted, you had them, you birthed them. You know,
True. That's absolutely true. Wow, so that's a new one on me. I'm gonna have to research that, Chaz, B98, because that's interesting. And she also says that the men don't research nothing. In fact, according to these men, they are illiterate because their mama don't help them with their homework. So I don't understand black women going along with everything they say. Hmm.
I mean, no, it is true. We do have a problem with literacy in our community. That part is true. But we also have a whole bunch of programs available to help you how to read. If you're already a grown adult, you need to take your behind somewhere and learn how to read. It ain't hard. I mean, I'm sorry nobody taught you. I'm sorry your mom was working too much or she was just whatever. Your dad was whatever. But the point is, you're old now. Go to
Right.
the library and say, I can't read. And they'll help you. They literally have classes there where somebody will sit down and teach you behind how to read. So
That
I don't want to hear anything about you illiterate now. You can do a whole bunch of things. Learn how to read.
facts, because there is. I have an uncle, and he's what, almost 60. He can't read anything. His wife had to take care of all their financial business in their household.
One
And
out of four Americans are illiterate. People don't realize that. 25% of Americans, not black people, Americans are illiterate.
well, now here's the thing. So now fast forward to now, his wife, she's mentally incapacitated, and so now
Hmm.
he is stuck with having to run things in the household, and
Yeah,
he's doing all right, but he's fumbling a lot, as far
yeah,
as how to handle things, because she
yeah.
was the one that did most of the heavy work. So yeah,
Unfortunately, he was coddled, and when you coddle people, that only works but for so long. Eventually, everybody has to stand on their own 2 feet. And that's the reason why I don't believe in coddling people, especially young boys. They have to do too much in this world. And that's one thing I can say that black women do to our community detriment. We coddle the boys too much. And then when they get grown and big, we're wondering why they can't do nothing. Because you did everything for them their whole life. You never forced them to do anything. So obviously they can't do nothing now. That's the whole reason why you have a childhood and adolescent just learning how to be an adult. If all you do is spoil them, you literally are spoiling them.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think it need to be a lot more tough love. I mean, I'm a prime example of that. I wanted to do what I wanted to do when I got a certain age, and my mother said, "Well, you go right ahead, just not up under my roof." And that made me be a stronger person because I had to learn the hard way. So I do know that if there's more of an effort to wing the male, I think he becomes a more prominent citizen in his community.
Yeah, I think we worry about white supremacy too much, and that kind of negates everything else. So I don't want him to go out and do this stuff because the white man's gonna try to get him. You need to worry about the Chinese man, the Hispanic man, every other man. It's not just the white man. They need to learn how to be men to compete against men. And too often in time, because I've seen it in my own family, hate to say it, that's how my mom was, and it does not work. You may shield them a little bit when they're little, but eventually they have to get out into this world. And once they get out into this world, they ain't gonna care about the fact you had a loving, caring mom who was always super protective. They out there, it's a dog eat dog world. And if they don't have those instincts, they're like a lion that was born in captivity. If you send them out into the wild, they don't know what to do because you brought the food to them. You know what I'm saying? You never let them go out there and hunt and do what they're naturally supposed to do. You coddled them, and so now you know they're not who they were supposed to be. And that's the one thing I can say that black women have a huge problem doing that we need to work on. Not being mean to the boys. I'm not saying abuse them. I'm not saying be mean to them, be rough with them, but you need to be stern with them. You need to not coddle them. Have them have responsibility and of their actions. And I think that's a huge problem we have. We definitely need to work on that.
Absolutely. I agree with that because now what we're doing is we do have a whole group of women that are going to school. We're the most educated. We make money. We take care of the households. But then what do we got, for the girls that do this? I mean, where's their counterpart? It just isn't there. We got 20% maybe that make it to the upper echelon. We got a lot of
Yeah,
working class black men who are uneducated, and that's kind of lopsided. Because
it
once,
is because you are masculizing the women and you're feminizing the men. That's why the gender roles are so messed up.
yeah,
It's been like that for a long, long time over here. So that's almost part of our culture now. And it's like it's gonna take a hard shift mentally, all of us to get together and say, you know what, no, we have to fix this because it is damaging us.
Yeah, the standard for a man growing up, a black man is definitely low, and it needs to be a little higher because what 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 we're just doing now and what's being accepted is just not enough. Like you said, the women are going to school and their counterparts are not in the colleges with them. You know, that's so true. And your point about captivity, I mean, it couldn't have been presented any better than that. That's exactly what it is.
But I'm
so
saying the black women. I mean, we can't on our own. We can't change men because that's just not how nature works. So what we need to do is on our end, we need to change ourselves, change how we react to things. Because there's nothing a woman can do that's gonna make a man do anything. We don't have the physical power. We don't have the ability to do that. But we can change how we do stuff. And
absolutely,
that's why I always want to focus on what we can do. Yeah, we're in this horrible position, but what can we do to get out of it? Crying about who black men have sex with is not going to work. So
exactly.
what are the other things that we can do?
Well, we could first of all start with raising the men that we ourselves would have wanted to marry. We could
Yeah,
start there.
yep. I
But
think
I think
we need to have parenting classes because unfortunately a lot of us don't know how, men and women, we don't know how to be parents. We were raised in a way that's quite frankly dysfunctional just because of outside influences, but now we have to like kind of reset the culture. And I think parenting classes would definitely help.
And see, and that's where I believe the black church should come in, because I believe that if we had more programs like that, like parenting classes,
Hmm.
the young men and the little boys and little girls early on, about
Right.
planning. If we had at the churches did a little bit more as far as engaging with the community, I think that the black church would be more valuable than what it is. But right now, I don't really see the black church doing much for the community at all.
They don't do anything but collect money and spend it on the pastors. That's
Yes.
all they do. They don't do a damn thing. It used to the church, black church used to be very valuable, but now if they happen to disappear, it wouldn't make a difference in your life if we want to
Yeah.
keep it real.
Hmm. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think we need better examples in the communities and in the households. As far as what represents what a man and and a woman is for that matter. Just keep the standard pretty high, just so that the kids have something to look up to. Then be role models on TV. Make
Right.
sure you surround them with personalities that's valuable to their growth.
But the whole thing about the examples is someone has to actually do it. And I think that's the part we're stuck on. We need people to actually do it so we can see it. Just saying words, just kind of like how describing to someone how to paint the sky. Sometimes you just need someone to actually show how to do it. Like remember on PBS, there was this one guy that would have he had a whole show about painting, and he would actually take his brush and show you how to do it and talk you through it. I think that's what we need. We need someone to show how to go ahead and do that. Because right now, all we have is just ratchet. It's just ratchet debauchery. And
Yeah.
that's why you have people who are ratchet and just do that kind of stuff because you're showing them that. You don't show the Cosby Show stuff anymore. Even you have a shows with the black families, the mother's rude and demeaning towards the father. The father's like, oh, he's just exasperated, he can't do anything right. He's also sarcastic. The children do all sorts of crazy stuff. Everybody laughs, and then 30 minutes later, that's it.
But now with 70% of the children being raised by single parents and majority of those single parents being women, then that ratchetness is coming from our households.
Yeah, I'm saying because they're raised by TV. It started with Generation X is raised by TV. And then we passed it on to all these other generations where how they're literally taught is by seeing crazy stuff on television. And it started with BET and it's just moved on from there. And
Yeah,
it's just
you're right.
it's hard to find any channel where you see black people acting like they should.
Yeah, because I remember watching a lot of TV when I was a kid. You're absolutely right.
Mhm. Because our moms had to work, and so we were the first latchkey kids where you went to school and you came home, you let yourself in,
Yeah,
and you pretty much had free reign.
yeah, you
And the main rules that your mom had was don't let anybody in the house, and mine was don't touch the stove because she didn't want us to burn down the house, and that
yep.
was pretty much it.
You're so right.
You are so right about that. Didn't even think about that, but yeah, we did. We had to take care of ourselves and we had free reign. You're absolutely right.
Hmm.
And I remember being in 8th grade, and I remember there was this girl named Tanya. I don't know if she was held back a grade or not, but we were in 8th grade and she was like pregnant.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Generation X, we had a huge problem with teen pregnancies. It was a big problem. Like it was rarely somebody who did not know someone who was already knocked up by the time they were 15. It ain't have to be like right in your circle. It's just like it was in church, it was in the neighborhood, it was in school. It was normal. You went to school and you saw lots of pregnant girls. You went to church and you saw lots of pregnant girls. It was just a normal thing. I don't know how that became a thing. Probably because again the parents were just too busy and just whatever. But yeah, it was the norm.
Yeah, because I think when she started showing, I think she was like 5 months or something. They took her out of
Hmm.
school and she had to complete school from at home because we were all starting to ask how come
Yeah.
she couldn't play with us in gym. You know, it,
Mhm.
it just became obvious something was wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
So
But
yeah,
thankfully,
Mm.
with the younger generation, they've kind of cooled down on the teen pregnancy. So that's
yeah.
one thing we say about Generation X parents. We haven't done a lot right, but that part at least is not as much teen pregnancy. There's a lot of other options we need to work on, but that kind of part we have told people, listen, you don't want to go through the path that's already been walked.
That's all. Well,
And
I like to say thank you for allowing me to be on the panel, Faith. I'm gonna go ahead and drop off. I appreciate this conversation. It's very valuable to the universe, and I'll be back in the chat anytime you come live. I definitely appreciate your content.
oh, definitely, Chief Executive. And thank you also for coming up here and giving us your insight on the conversation. I was very glad and happy to have you here as well.
Thank you so much. You have a great day.
All right. So now I wanted to touch on something that someone in the chat said. I think it was Rick. He was asking about my aunt. He was saying something about why does she need that man if he didn't do anything. And I think you remember I was telling you that my aunt did everything in the household because my uncle, he wasn't very, good with, taking care of things. And I think that she loved him. I think that they loved each other. People from the baby boomer generation, they weren't really on the same stuff that we're on with the whole get the bag and all of this get the bag stuff and this level up stuff just came about, with the Generation Y.
That's what I was gonna say. That's a very new phenomenon. The
Yeah,
the the, the real phenomenon in the black community is to get a man and keep the
right.
man, regardless of what your outcome was, what happened to you. It was just if you have a man, that was the main thing.
That was the main thing. So back then, it was an accomplishment, to
Hmm.
get married.
And I'm sure there's also part of it where he needed her, and she knew that. And that's very a lot of people they want to be needed. So the other part wasn't as valuable to her. And it wasn't like he just sat around playing video games all day. He just couldn't read. So she could take care of that part. And I'm sure he did other stuff to
Oh,
help
and
balance everything out.
let me shout out to Chef Disaster for the $5 super chat. My first super chat, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much, Chef Disaster. And thank you again for joining the panel. We really appreciated your insight and your input. But yeah, you're right. It was an accomplishment. I remember my mom and dad back in the days. It was an accomplishment if you bought a house. I mean, it's buying a house is still an accomplishment today, but back then it was really something.
Yeah,
So
because we had all those obstacles against getting a house. So if you got one, you really proved something. They weren't handing out mortgages to black people back in the day. You had to jump through all sorts of hoops to get one.
yeah, we were much more proud back then. If you had
Hmm.
a house, if you graduated from high school, if you got married, if you were able to have a good functioning family and able to put your first child through college, that was an
Yeah,
accomplishment. We were proud people back then.
yeah,
I
because
remember.
we had those examples though, and I'm saying I personally think BET ruined black people. BET and rap music that really just ate those black people, and we also exported that nonsense across the globe. And I honestly think if we didn't have those two things, we would be in a whole different place right now.
Really, you think
Because
rap
yes,
music?
rap music, yes, especially gangster rap. Yeah, when you promote gangsterism and pimping and stuff like that, you're gonna promote gangsters, and hoes. You promote that, people look up to that kind of stuff. Propaganda is a very, very powerful thing. And that was propaganda put to our community. The only way you're going to go ahead and be successful is to go ahead and be this little gangster thug person. The only way you're going to go ahead and get a man is to go ahead and be a hoe. That's what they like. And now we have these little gangsters and little hoes out here.
Yeah, but now
Not
before,
all, but
before we
not
had
all, but way too
rap,
many.
though, I mean, before we had the gangster rap, I mean, with all due respect, because I don't think it was just the rap music. Because before rap music, we had the black exploitation films. Remember that in the 70s?
True, but I'm saying more people. When you invite something into your home, is different than when you're going out to the theater to watch something. You can go to a movie and you spend 2 hours inside of a movie and then you come home. You're not all the time seeing that. So yes, it does have an impact. But when you bring that nonsense into your house and it just saturates it all the time, where young kids is all they were watching was foolishness, that changes people. And I think that's what I'm agreeing. The drug era in the 70s, that pimping era that was bad. But I'm saying what really changed it, what really damaged it for a lot more people, is when we brought that foolishness into our house and children sat there and watched it for hours and hours and hours. They can know a gangster rap song lyrics better than they know their ABCs.
Well, I don't know. Now, see, I think that it was maybe a small part of it, but I think the biggest part of it was the crack era. I think when
But I'm
the
saying we had it on top of each other. The
yeah,
reason why we had the crack era because so many parents were on crack and they couldn't raise the kids, so the kids were at home watching
exactly
stupid stuff. So I'm
right,
saying, but that's the problem that we had in our community. Where
right.
it's one thing if you're not being raised, but if you're being raised with that
Era,
stuff,
the crack era was like the biggest problem, though. Like the rap music, it was out there. I get it, but when the parents were on crack and they were not able to have control of the household, that's what I
yeah.
really, really, really put us under.
But
Because
I'm saying, but it was not just that they did not have control of the house. What did have control of the house? It's a two-part thing. There was no other good example for if you had a horrible parent, but you're sitting at home watching Leave It to Beaver and watching Bill Cosby show and stuff like that. At least you can see something positive, so you know, okay, I can go out here and maybe this what's going on with my parents right now is not right. Here's the right thing. But if you don't have that and all you have is bitches and hoes, I'm gonna kill this nigga, yada yada yada. I'm gonna go ahead and go down on this man to go ahead and keep a man, and I can steal your man. If that's what you have and you don't have the other part, you are going to be extremely dysfunctional. And that's what we had.
well, okay, now we got Chaz B98 says they happened at the same time. Hip hop made selling crack cool. I can agree with that. And
And
Chef
being in a gang, cool.
yes,
And
and
going after thugs, cool. That I'm saying that part, that second part, is what really did us in. Because there have been drug eras before that did not fundamentally ruin an entire culture. We've had heroin situations, we had cocaine eras, we've had that. But I think what
the
really did us in is when we had the other part.
parents were in the household. The parents had full cognitive ability to take control of the kids. But when you took the parents out of the home, when the drugs was running everything, that's what I think did us in. When they dumped that crack in our communities, they knew exactly what they were doing.
Right, but I'm saying we've had drug eras before. We literally have. We've had heroin that went back in 1800s. And then we've had alcoholism. We've had vices before where parents were not able to be involved. We even had a period of time where children were actually in the homeless, were out in the street just running amok. We've had those type of situations before. But I'm saying what really did us in is when we had that kind of propaganda pushed onto not just the kids who had the crack parents, the other children who had parents who were just working outside the home. Because as much as we talk about the crack era, we did not have the majority of people in our community on crack. We need to get that part straight. So the majority of people weren't raised by crack parents. But I'm saying what changed our whole culture is we did have both. Everybody in our community was basically had this whole propaganda of just what being black was, and it was just degeneracy, and that's what changed it. At least to me, that's what changed it. Because I wasn't raised by a crack fiend.
But see,
I'm
here's
sure.
the thing. Not only was it the crack that took the parents out of the community, but also Clinton's crime bill took a lot of black men. A lot of black children grew up without a father because of Clinton's crime bill. So if you put two and two together, the crack,
Mhm.
the black men out here, trying to, cut corners, selling the crack,
Right,
and then
right,
going to jail, all of that
right.
had a devastating effect on the community. So
I agree with that. I agree with that.
That was like, on that was just basically on top of, the bigger.
Yeah, it was. And we already also had a lot of our leaders assassinated, and that's a huge trauma when you see someone, literally killed in front of your eyes. That's going to have a huge issue also. So we had a lot of things going on. It's not just any one thing. It's everything put together. And like I said, I don't know how to really change it, to be honest with you. I know we can. I just don't have the answers how, because
No,
it's a huge generational problem. And I don't know how to. I don't know the first step. I just know personally what we can do is at least not coddle our sons. At least plan your children. At least do that. But the steps after that, I have no clue. I am not even going to try to pretend that I know. I don't know.
and to be honest, the drug eras have passed. I mean,
It has.
it's even starting to affect the white people. Chef
It
disaster,
is.
because he said, why didn't it affect white children? It did. That's the
And it's
reason.
affecting them. And it's affecting them right now. And that's why all their issues are going on. But
Exactly.
we're not going to see the generational things until those kids grow up and they start having their children. So right now they're in it. But just
But
like when we were in the crack era, we couldn't see it. You can't see the damage until after.
they have the judicial system on their side, so their white fathers are not being taken out of their lives, and their community is not being as devastated as they devastated ours, because they
Yeah,
all
they don't.
on their sides.
Yeah, that's true. They're not getting those 30-year sentences. But when I'd much rather, I wouldn't choose any, but it's a lot harder to get off of heroin or opioids than it is crack. So their issue that they have, and as large as it is, it could potentially be a lot worse than our crack era.
True. I see what Chef Disaster is saying. You see what he's saying? He says white kids bought more rap music, so why hasn't it affected them? I guess that's what he's saying. Why hasn't it affected white children, the
But
rap
that's what I'm
music?
saying. If you have a positive influence, you can kind of balance it out. But if you're only having that destructive influence and you don't have anything else, you're only going to glom onto the destructiveness. That's the reason why white people didn't let their heavy metal crazy music take over their entire community. Can you imagine how crazy they would be? They're nuts now, but can you imagine how crazy they would be if they were listening to only Marilyn Manson? The school shootings would happen every 3 seconds.
Yeah, that's true. That is
So I'm
absolutely.
saying we promoted gangsterism. We promoted destructiveness all the time. The main way to be a rapper, which is a real career choice for a lot of people, just like nowadays being a stripper is a career a choice for women. That's sad, but that's what it is. If you only have that, you are going to destroy your community. You're going to destroy your culture.
That's
You
true.
can't promote a black man up there killing another black man just because, and not think that's not going to trickle down to a higher murder rate. Those two, they go together. You have to have the positive to counteract the negative. If you only have negative, you're only going to have a negative outcome. That's just how it is. You can't get around. That's people.
And Esty the Bestie says, think about how many babies were born addicted to crack. People were put in jail, killed, and sold their homes and cars, and there was little to no supervision over the babies.
Hmm. True.
Yeah, that's true. But like I said, to me, what we could probably do now in today's, I'm talking about as far as solutions, because that's what I want to get to. My
Hmm.
solution for black men, if you guys don't want to be put on child support, you're worried about your coins. Now we know that the average cost of a vasectomy is between $1,500 to $4,000. Okay. So now let's tally up the average cost of vasectomy. The most you spend out of pocket, $4,000, and it is completely reversible. How much does it cost? Can anybody tell me what is the average cost per year to take care of one child? Anybody in the chat room? Let me
Or
see.
raise them hood style or raise them properly.
Mm, just I would just say to raise them properly. I would hope anybody would want to raise their
I
child.
mean, It's probably going to cost anywhere between 15,000 to 25,000.
Okay, I was gonna say 25,000. Let's see what
Mhm.
Google says though. Hold on, let me look it up real quick. Average
I mean,
cost
cause
of
some
care.
people they pay $1,000 a month for one kid for daycare. That's
Ooh,
daycare. Yeah, it's insane.
yeah, and I can, but I always had my mom. Thank God I
Yeah,
had. Okay, so let's Google average cost of taking care of a child. Cost of
but I'm
raising.
saying if you take care of it just yourself and you don't have the state to help you out, so forth and so on, because you can, that's the reason why they have subsidized childcare. Because honestly, if you were paying out of pocket, there'll be three black kids in daycare. Not trying to be mean, but that people can't shell out that kind of money. That's a
Wow,
lot of money.
hold on. It says here that the average cost of raising one child $233,610.
Yeah.
Wow,
Then that's before they get to college.
that
That's
is.
just,
Oh no,
yeah.
but they're saying over the lifespan. It
Yeah,
says
up to age 18.
yeah, over the
Yeah.
lifespan. So if you average that out, if you, I don't know if anybody can do mathematics, but if you, so you, what do you call it? Divided that $233,610 figure by 18 years, what would that come out to per year? About 25,000.
I
Anybody got
don't
their
even.
anybody got their calculator out there? I don't have my calculator out.
I don't, but I know it's too damn much. Put it that
That's
way.
a hell of a lot. He says
Why?
Kilpatrick says anywhere between 25 to 30,000. That's what I'm thinking too. About 20 to 30,000.
I say minimum 12,000 a year. Minimum.
Yeah, that's if you
But
don't
like,
do nothing.
yeah, yeah. But I'm saying it. But that's the reason why so many people have to go to the state and apply for help. Because again, it's not just food stamps. It's not just Section 8. It's childcare. It's buying the clothes and stuff for kids. And kids outgrow clothes like an insane amount. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of stuff. It's the after school care. You know what I'm saying? You can have them in school once they age 5, from 7:30 to 3:30. But what happens after that? You need someone to take care of them after school. Then they need to be in after school activities. It's a lot of stuff. That's why you have to plan them. You can't just be out here willy nilly because you're gonna put yourself back. And then once that kid hits 18, you know what I'm saying? They're not going to have anything ready for them. They're not going to be able to really go to school without being in debt. And then you have to worry about your retirement.
Exactly.
So it's like,
And you
I
know
mean,
what? Not to cut you off, but something that you said earlier about the welfare system stopping a lot of young women from making the decision to bring babies forth.
mhm,
Think that women, I think that we knew full well that it was an economic risk to have a child. I
yeah.
think women knew more than anything,
Oh, yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
the men that I don't think take it seriously because they want to
No,
put a lot of the responsibility on the women.
right. But you don't even have, as a woman, you don't even have to have a child yourself to know this. You just need to be around other women, talk to other women. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying? You yourself don't have a child. You see your friend who has a child. You've seen how your mother had to struggle raising you. So you don't necessarily have to have a kid in order to be like, well, I didn't know until I had one. No, you know. And I think that's one of the reasons why when that welfare thing said, hey, we're changing how welfare is done, that's why it started dropping because he was like, oh, nope, they did the math. You ain't got to be great at math to know, oh, I don't have the funds for that. I'm not a mathematician, but I can add up a little bit. So I know that's the reason why I don't have kids now because I knew I can't afford it. And I don't want to put myself in a position where I'm struggling every day of the month. That's very stressful. I saw my mom go through that. She was married, she had 4 kids, but it didn't work, and she had to struggle to raise us. And I looked at that and I was like, nope, not for me.
and you and your brothers and sisters had to actually suffer in that
Yeah,
struggle.
yes. get out there and get a job I didn't want at a very early age, and none of the money stayed in my hands. It went to the house to literally keep the lights on.
And
That
doesn't
kind of
doesn't
stuff
it
changes
suck,
you.
doesn't it suck as a kid?
Yeah, yes. You out here literally working a crappy ass fast food job, and then when you get your tiny little paycheck, you can't even keep that to get little things that you want to get. Is going to pay a light bill. Yeah,
Yeah, that makes you think a lot of the kids in our generation, the poor children in our generation, they had to grow up pretty fast. Our
yeah,
generation of kids learned about economics at an early age because didn't our parents always tell us about what the bills cost? And you're right, as
yes,
soon as we got our little jobs, we had to
yeah,
pay bills.
yeah. It was no situation where you got a little money in the house, you go back in your room and just decide how you're going to spend it. No, as soon as you got that paycheck, oh, okay, the light bill's due,
Yep,
and
yep,
you had a choice. You can either pay it or sit in the dark. What you gonna do? You're gonna pay it. That's just how
absolutely.
it is.
And now the kids nowadays, like the children of Generation X, I think Generation X, we spoiled our kids
Oh, for sure. There
because
was no thought of getting a cell phone when you're not even. Wait, can you imagine back in the day if we were able to get iPhones at age 11?
I, girl, do you know I probably would have been like, oh my God, I would have died.
I'm telling you, we ain't had none of that stuff. You lucky if your whole house had a one TV. And God forbid if you and your siblings did not like something, because I remember growing up, I had to sit there and watch some corny ass cartoon that I didn't even want to watch because my sisters would throw a fit, because my mom always gave them their way. So here I am, a teenager watching stupid cartoons
You know
because we
what?
only had one TV.
Exactly. You know what was so bad? Me and my brother got into a knockout, drag down fight over this old black and white TV with the aluminum foil antenna, and it still had the little knob on it where you could turn it because my mother upgraded to a color television and she gave it to us. And my mom and dad, they wanted to decide which of us was going to get it. My brother was like, "Oh, I'm the oldest. I should get it." I'm like, "No, I'm the one to get all the A's in the house and I do all the work. I should get it." We got into a knockdown. He threw me down the stairs, girl. I still got back.
Yeah, yeah. They were it was vicious back then. You were literally fighting for scraps. So yeah, I totally understand it. But that is one of the reasons why we do happen to we tend more to spoil our children. When we get a little bit of money, we tend to want to make sure they don't feel the same thing we feel. And that's probably not for the best to spoil our kids that way, but that's a trauma I think we try to work through. So I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And one last thing that I want to say is I'm getting ready to end the stream. We're going on 2 hours. This is the longest I've been on here, guys. So you
Yeah,
guys
we're
are
having a good conversation now.
absolutely. But one last thing I do want to bring up too, and I want to reiterate about the churches. Back in the day when my mother and my father used to make me and my brothers go to church, church was actually a little bit fun because they
Mm-hmm.
had different programs back in the day. I don't know what happened to all the programs that was in the church. But
It
I
went to
remember,
the pastor's BMW.
yes, because I remember they had like the little the dating program for the what they call
Mm,
it, singles, and they
yeah, they had the newlywed program. They had
yeah,
the program for little babies. They had a program for the teenagers. Yeah, they did. I
and
remember that.
everybody in the community was involved in the church. And Sunday was a big to do. Everybody went to church. Everybody was dressed up. Everybody was happy to see each other. You were
Hmm.
involved in the community and the
We
church
had the
program.
dinner after the church.
Yeah, and what happened?
Hmm.
That
Like I
now
said, the pastors took the money.
these churches are ridiculous. But yeah, I just wanted to get your take on that because, like I said, if the churches would get more community involvement, and having a clothes drive and a food drive, that's good and everything. Because I do understand, you got the homeless out there and you got families that are poor that need it. But what we need more, what happened to the tutoring programs that the churches used to have? The adult skills and literacy programs that they used to have. I think that the churches really dropped the ball when they got rid of those programs. but they're still funneling in all the money. And that's how we need to hold the churches accountable. If we're talking about accountability in the community, let's hold the churches accountable and hold each other accountable for making those churches bring those programs back into the community. Because I think that, to be honest, the men in the church, the corrupt men, the pastors and the deacons, they ran the men out of the church. They ran the men out of the church who would have contributed, because they took away all the programs that were drawing in a lot of men. Oh, Miss J dropped down. But at any rate, I was getting ready to close out anyway. Hey, reigning woman. Sheila E says hello. Hello, Sheila. Reigning woman says, my church still has all of those things going on. What church do you go to, reigning woman? Because I'm telling you, the churches in my community, I lived in Chicago, Inglewood, and we only have like maybe 3 churches that still do maybe 2 or 3 of those things. But I remember back in the day, my church used to have all those programs going on, and the men of the community was way more active in the church than they are today. And I don't know what happened. Let's see here. I'm Allison in Wonderland says mega churches messed up the church. I think so too. I think so too. And then when the churches, like Miss J said, when the churches got bigger, oh, okay, Miss J said her phone died. Okay. When the churches got bigger, then that's exactly what happened. Your money went more and more into the pastor's pocket, like Miss J said. But at any rate, I just wanted to say I've had some awesome people up here on the panel, and I thank you guys for coming in here on my first live stream where I actually put the link out there. I was kind of nervous about throwing the link out there. I was hoping that nobody was going to do any weird stuff and photobomb or whatever, but it went through smoothly. All of my guests were awesome. Everybody had something great to add to the conversation. And so you guys, you're what makes this channel what it is. So I just want to say thank you so much for that. And also, Chef, I really want to thank you for the super chat. That's my first super chat, guys. I know you guys are like, oh, she's fawning over this $5. $5 is $5, guys. Okay, I'm gonna go have me a little margarita with that $5. Thank you, at Bixby. Thank you so much. Rainy Woman says, I am a proud member of Fallbrook, and we have so many programs, but I know there are other churches that have these kind of programs, but they are unsupported. I don't know, Rainy Woman. Now, does your church have a lot of male participation? Rainy Woman, can you come up and talk to us a little bit about the church before we get out of here? Because that's one of the things that I did want to discuss and bring full circle into the conversation is if we're talking about solutions, because I do believe that the Black church can be part of the solution. But, like I said, to me, a lot of the churches have dropped the ball. I don't really see a lot of community activity with these churches. So, you're saying that your church does all of that, and quite a few, there's a lot of other people that I've seen that say that their church does it. But then how come, there's not a lot of community support and activity around the church? If the church is offering all these great programs, where are the people, and how are they not trying to get the people to come into the church? That's what I need to know. Thank you, Joe W. Thank you so much, everyone. Oh, Raining Woman said, let me get my tea together and I'll come up. All right. But yeah, but as far as like, I'm while she's getting her tea together, I'm going to go back to the original subject matter because I think is important. Because like I said, this whole conversation started off about Black men getting, not Black men, but rich men getting vasectomies. And, I think that is a viable solution for the men who want to protect their assets. And, I'm not saying that this is a viable solution to stop unplanned parenthood, period. But I think that this is a viable solution for men of means who want to protect their assets, because there are so-called men of means running around these YouTube streets talking about their gold that they don't want any of these gold diggers to dig for, using children as pawns. And my response to them, if you got all this gold that you don't want anyone to dig, you got all this gold and all this stuff to lose, then why haven't you looked into this as an option if you don't want to cover your penis with a condom? Because you can sit up here and you can talk about black men, you need to use condoms and all this type of stuff, and they will counter you with, but black women have all these different forms of birth control. But then you sit up and talk about the treacherous women, the women that have these ulterior motives. Now, if these women are treacherous and they have ulterior motives, why would you then trust them to be on birth control and put your best interests at heart? You can't trust these so-called treacherous women when it comes to your best interests. And that's what I want to put out here to the men. When it comes to protecting your best interests, and this is your money, this is your gold that you don't want anybody to dig for, then you have to look at what options you have. Vasectomies are completely reversible. I did the research on it. If you get the money, it only costs anywhere between $1,500 to $4,000, and the same amount to reverse. So if you want to reverse the vasectomy, if later on down the line you meet a nice young lady, you guys want to get married, you want to plan, with emphasis on the word plan, your family, then you can go and have it reversed after you get married. You could be in complete control of where your sperm goes or doesn't go. Especially, and I'm saying especially, if you are a man of means and you have everything to lose. Why would you not do this for yourself? Just chill, just chilling says, shout out to my pops when he told me no matter what these women tell me, always put something on. Exactly. Exactly. You have to use what is available to you. Let's see. Elisa Excuse says, where was the faith to block coronavirus? Lisa Askew Kilpatrick, are you referring to the church? Because I can't block no coronavirus now, you know. But I hear you. I hear you on that completely. Like, where was the faith to block the coronavirus? I think, to be honest with you, it seems like there's something trying to kill humankind. If you ask me, something is trying to kill humankind. Oh, Chef Disaster says, I'm back. Great stream, Faith. Thank you, Chef Disaster. Sheila E said, just saying hello. Hello, Sheila E. Yeah, so solutions. I'm all about solutions. It's like I said, I'm not going to be a hypocrite and sit up here and make my channel a male bashing channel where all I do all day long is complain about black men this, black men that. That would make me a hypocrite. And also it'd be counterproductive if I say that I care about black people in general. If we are going to be content creators, and if we're sitting up here pounding on this whole what do you call it, black empowerment thing that we all like to pounce on, then we need to come with the solutions. If you're not coming with the solutions, then don't come at all. Take your channel down. If you get up every day and your sole purpose is to bash on one gender or the other, just delete your whole Facebook account, because you're not trying to get any solutions. You're just trying to get on here to get money and notoriety. And that's just not going to help. We don't need any more of those. And shout out to all the people, even the dating coaches. I've seen some dating coaches, some relationship coaches that come on here and they actually do have viable solutions to help people better themselves. I'm all for the self-improvement. I'm all for the self-improvement. So if I see even the relationship and dating coaches and they're giving great advice about self-improvement, shout out to Chrissy. She has a channel that's called I forget what it's called, a Divine Dark Skin. No, that's her magazine. But I go to Chrissy's channel, and she does give actual viable solutions. Let's see who's down here. Oh, that looks like Lisa Askew Kilpatrick. Let me go ahead and add you on. Sister, welcome to the screen, to the stream. Lisa Askew Kilpatrick, are you there? I can't, oh no, I gotta unmute your mic.
Yes,
What's going on, girl?
I love you, Faith. I love you because you keep it real, and I'm all about people that's going to keep it real. Um, I really don't know if I'm showing or what's going on right now. What do you see?
I see you're on here. I see a black
It's
box.
a black screen.
There's a black screen. I don't see you though.
I don't know. I really don't know about all this technology stuff, but anyhow, our people got to get out of the illusion of delusion for real, because I haven't seen anything as far as the religion part of it, and in 2015, because I had enough, and I asked the Most High to deliver me the truth. And I think that's what's wrong with our people, because we don't ask the Most High to deliver us the truth. So we keep following after man and their tradition. Oh, okay, I'm gonna go to church on Sunday. No, first and foremost, he said the Sabbath day, which is Saturday, and it starts Friday to Saturday, that we are supposed to honor. And if you don't ask the Most High to teach you, then you're still following what the tradition, a white man came in and told you to follow. So, and I love what's her name? I forgot what you call her, but woman, region, woman, whatever.
Man.
Yeah, she know who I am because I stay true to my name. I don't change it for nobody. My name is Lisa Askew Kilpatrick. That's who I am, and I stay in my truth. Um, but our people are the first people to discredit our people. When the Most High said that you're supposed to love your brother and your sister, he didn't say love the world. He said love your brother and your sister. Okay, but our brother and our sister are the first ones that want to kick us to the curb and step all over us, and just you don't want to listen. So therefore, you still following the white man tradition. Okay, I don't give a damn if your pastor is a black man before you. Okay, you still have that psychological defect in your mind. Okay,
Right.
and I'm a veteran spouse. Okay, and the Most High has brought me into a lot when I cried out to Him to deliver me from this diabolical backwards crap that we were born into. And a lot of our people don't hold on to the truth after we ask for it. And you try to make up excuses. And I'm so done with that. And this is why we're so divided and stupid and diabolical to white supremacists. And nobody want to hear that. When you tell the truth, they feel like they in their feelings, and they feel like, oh, it don't compute with me, or get the freak out of your feelings, because you're stupid. He said, come to me humble as a child. He don't mean that, well, we are a child to him, but he needs you to unlearn the stupidity that Satan used through religions, all religions, including Muslim. I don't know why people think Muslim is some kind of, no, they stupid too. They're stupid too. He said all religions to come to him humbly as a child. I looked at the fall of Cabal, and you know what I discovered? I didn't know that our children was covered by the Most High until the age of 8. You know what Satan is doing? He's trying to kidnap all our kids, not the whites, not no other group, our kids, okay? Because he knows that we come from the Most High. And he's trying to kidnap all our children under the age of 8, especially the children that are infant born, so that he goes against the Most High. Okay? And our children under 8 is covered by the Most High. Because he know at the age of 8, our children, if you raise them up and train them rightfully so, they're going to know right from wrong and want to repent, and they're going to want to be baptized, and they're going to want to be followers of the Most High. I just learned that today, and I'm 57 years old. So you have to stay open to growth and knowledge.
Absolutely.
You can't shut down and say, "Oh, I know what I know." No, you don't know. This is a very wicked atmosphere that we're in right now.
Now, Miss Kilpatrick, can I ask you, what do you think about all of these men that complain about the number of children being born out of wedlock, yet they do not want to wear condoms or practice abstinence? They don't want to have a vasectomy. What do you think about that?
They're sad because they didn't go to the Father. You're not seeking the Father. And that's all he wants us to do is seek. You know what's wrong with us? Our ancestors effed up. Okay? Because they went against the commandments. They went against the statutes. They went against the laws. Okay? This is why wisdom is she. Not all she, but wisdom is she. If you are humble to the Most High, we are the most moral, compassionate, loving, kind individuals upon the face of the earth. But if you don't recognize where it comes from, this is why we remain lost. And I refuse to be lost anymore. Because all the guidance, and I love my great grands, I love my grands, I love my father, I love my mother, all they didn't know. Okay, this is why right now is the awakening. And he's only going to touch those that are pure in heart. He's only going to touch those that are loving towards him. And until we recognize that, you're going to stay in a circle, you're going to burn, and you're going to die with Hasatan. You don't need religion. You only need the Most High. I'm sorry to, our people, we get very passionate. Okay, but I'm 57, and I really want our people to wake up. I really want us to wake up. Okay? Because he's calling us. He's calling us. But you got to hear him. Not me. You need to hear him. You need to hear his voice. He said, my sheep will hear my voice. And it breaks my heart because you get in the way of your own self and thinking you gonna figure this out. No, you strapping the fence of should I listen to man or should I listen to the Most High? Okay? These preachers, you got to recognize they be trained, a lot of them been trained under Cain. What happened to Cain? He lied about his brother Abel. Okay? He killed his brother Abel. Okay? And you going to keep listening to Cain? You going to keep listening to Cain? Or you going to listen to the Most High?
Absolutely.
Okay?
We got to listen to the Most High. Well, Miss Kilpatrick, I want to thank you so much for coming up here and sharing with us. Thank you again. I really appreciate everything that you told me. You're absolutely right. Because Cain was the one that did kill his brother, and a lot of our men are running around here with that Cain mentality. I understand exactly what you are
I
saying.
love my people so much. I love my people so much. I love my people so much. I wish you would listen to the Most High. Only thing you have to do is ask Him. He said, "Come to me." He said, "Come to me," and we're not coming to Him. We listen to the man in the pulpit. We listen to the Moscow or all this stupid religion. He said, "Come to me." He gives you life. He gives you life every day. What is wrong with you? Moscow, whatever religion is not waking you up. Wake up. Wake up and recognize our Father.
Absolutely.
Wake up.
Thank you.
It hurts my heart. You keep following man. You keep following man. He said, jealous. I am jealous. I am jealous. You won't follow the commandments. He said, I am jealous. What is wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
All right. Well, thank you, Mrs. Lisa Skew Kilpatrick. I'm going to drop you down because Reigning Woman has come in. But thank you so much again for joining us and giving us your insight.
I love you, Faith.
I love you too, Mrs. Kilpatrick. And again, thank you so much for coming in. All right. Reigning Woman is in the house. How are you, sister? Thank you so much.
OMG. I am blessed and I'm grateful. Faith, how are you?
I'm doing good. I am blessed and highly favored as well. How are you today?
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, let's start off like this. First of all, God is good. I just celebrated my 50th birthday on yesterday. Hello.
Oh wow, congratulations. Happy birthday.
Hey, yes, and I'm just, hey, 50 years young. I'm just so grateful for every single thing. Thank you, Most High. Thank you. I was showered in so much love, so much spirit, so much support. And you know what? It didn't have to be me to be able to still be here. So I am grateful.
Absolutely. Now, Rainy Woman, you said something interesting that made me ask if you could come up
Yes.
because I was discussing the church and the church role in the Black community and what they are and aren't doing. But you were saying that your church actually does these things. And I've heard others say this too, but why isn't there more community outreach, to bring the people back into the flock and into the fold?
You know, There are many reasons I would like to say, to that. And I can't speak, of course, in general, like for everybody, for everything. So, but I can say that I know that there are lots of churches with similar and different programs, but because they are not part of a quote unquote large community, or because they are maybe considered the lowly, then they, just like a lot of community centers, they go overlooked. They go unsupported. And it just is what it is. You can't force anybody to notice. You can't force anybody to take advantage of things that you have deemed important, deemed helpful, if they are looking, let's be frank, if they're looking for worldly advantage and worldly resources. And bottom line, that's really what a majority, a lot of people are just, they're just worldly. A lot of things are just worldly. We are in a very worldly world. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't expect, I don't expect spiritual results on applied topically to worldly problems and worldly solutions with worldly activity.
So, do you think that the church will ever implement, some of the things that are going on in the world and in the community into what programs they have available? Because I think what keeps a lot of people out of the church is that the church is just out of touch with what's going on right now in the world.
Some are, some aren't. There's an inverse to everything, and there's a good and a bad on absolutely everything. There's an advantage and disadvantage to all things. So, are people going to walk back into the church, or walk back into these church programs or whatever? Honestly, I don't know. The doors are open. The doors to the Most High is open.
Well, yeah, I agree with that, but it's just like, okay, let me put it in these terms. Okay, if you have men out here and their problem is they don't have enough opportunities in the community, they're struggling, with trying to find jobs out here. How can the church, address those men and make it so that those men will flock to the church, to hear, a message or participate in programs? I believe that the church should also look at programs to help people find employment, or if they don't have the skills, point them in the direction to where they can get the skills. This is what I'm talking about as far as the church not really helping or being in touch with the needs of the community.
Some churches do, some churches don't. That's not every church's ministry. That's not every church's calling. But to serve, absolutely. To be knowledgeable, to be aware, to contribute, absolutely. To the degree, like the church that I'm a part of, and even the church before I was a member of this church, other churches that I've been a part of, these ministries the things that they do was always a part of their vision, right? Um, and it takes a lot of and it's taken and continues to take a lot of work, a lot of dedication, a lot of sacrifice, and a lot of knocking on doors, a lot of declining, a lot of declining, a lot of people declining the opportunities, or declining the doors, declining the programs, because they are in the church. We have some people that are not going to come to the church for the program just because they just don't want to come to church. We can't ignore that either.
But you know what? I kind of think, but see, this is probably going to be kind of controversial. But I think that if the church made it attractive because I think that the men mostly are the ones that are not attracted to the church anymore, because men go to the church and all they see it is a money grab for the pastor. So the men don't see any value in pumping their money into the church because they don't see what the church is putting back into the community. But if the church was really interested in especially bringing young men back in, they would make it more attractive. Like, like I said, they have to put something in there that's going to make these young people want to come. Like the programs that I said earlier, the singles programs, all the single people want to meet each other. Of course they got these dating apps online, but why don't the church, kind of put together a mixer, a singles thing or whatever. Make it fun again. I remember back in the day, it was fun. The church is a drag now. I've been to them. I tried to go back to church quite a few times. I sit and read the Bible at home, but what makes you want to go into church is the congregation with the community, with the people. And I think the church is really dropping the ball on it. So, I just really wanted to see, whether or not you agreed with that or not. Reigning Woman, are you there?
Oh yes, I'm here. I'm gonna get my mic for a second while I check on something. I don't agree. Um, but once again, the only reason I don't agree is because I know that there are churches that do have these kind of involvements. Is it every single church? No, no, it is not. Can we put responsibility on every single church?
Why
Mm,
not? Why not? Because they're asking for the money. So if you're asking for the money, you can't just sit here and ask for the money just because you're a church and you have the Bible and you're preaching to people every Sunday. People can read the Bible at home.
Yeah, people can read the Bible. People should read the Bible at home, actually. People should seek on their own and at home. Absolutely. Like I said, there are some churches that are involved and that are doing these things, and there are some that are not.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like it needs to be a majority. Like if we're gonna have a church on every corner, then you have to earn your right to be there. You see what I'm saying? Because right now people value the liquor store more than they value the church. And there's a liquor store on every corner in the Black community. But if you ask the Black community, if there was a poll and today in the Black community, okay, who got to go, the liquor store or the church? Guess who they gonna kick out first? Because that's where they find value. You see what I'm saying? And I don't think that the church has done enough to show people that they're valuable in the community.
Hmm. Okay.
I'm just saying, I'm not trying to, not have a knockdown drag out argument about it, but I just really wanted to get your thoughts on it because you had said that your church did all of this, and I get what you're saying. Your church may be great, but we just got too many of these churches in our community just taking up real estate, and they're not doing half of what you're saying your church is doing, and I think it's just a waste.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, even the things that my church is doing, that didn't all happen overnight. A lot. I mean, it happened over years, over time. But one thing I can say that they've always been active in the community, doing a lot of outreach, and still currently, even with the tremendous growth, still doing a lot of outreach. So, I won't even attempt to speak on every church. Just like I wouldn't expect a Muslim to speak on every mosque.
That's true. That's
You know what
absolutely.
I'm saying? Like you just can't. There definitely is some wickedness, in wickedness behind a lot of churches, right? A lot of religious facilities, period, right? And so when you look at something that is driven by wickedness, how do you expect something that is driven by wickedness to produce godly action? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Just
know
because,
exactly what
I
you
mean,
mean.
just because it's a building that says it's this, and all of these things, like you see with the Bible at home, all these things were spoken of in the scriptures, even the scriptures outside of the Bible.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And to be fair, you're absolutely right. Because when you said you can't answer for all the churches in the community, you absolutely can't. But what I do see is, like, say for instance, we'll use YouTube content creators as an example. I have a small platform and I'm only able to reach so many people on my platform. But if I want to reach a larger audience, I have to make my platform better. You see what I'm saying? So I have to look at my analytics. I have to look at what the people gravitate to. And then I have to try to implement that into my program. Now, I have a certain moral standard that I want to adhere to on my channel, of course. But at the same time, I have to bring something that the people want to see and that the people want to hear. So, like at the beginning of my program, I played the music because people like music. I changed the interface because people like to see pretty interfaces, that sort of thing. So you have to look at what's going to attract the people, and then you grow your flock. You see what I'm saying? So, and then here comes the larger content creators. Like, you got your O'Shea's, you got your Cynthia G's. Who else is a large content creator on here? Black, I think it was African Diaspora, or what's his name, Phil, the Advice Show channel. These are people with large platforms that could actually help smaller platforms become bigger. And that's what O'Shea does. He used to play small ball on his channel when he would bring the smaller content creators to his channel, and he would introduce them to his larger population, and then the larger population knew who they were, and then he would send subs to their channel. How come the larger churches don't get with the smaller churches and try to, how can I say, send people there to get them to the point where they're just as big? And then you get more and more people filtered in from the community through word of mouth. I don't see that. I think the churches are extremely competitive too. Have you not noticed that? Uh-oh.
Repeat that last. I'm sorry. Repeat that last question.
No, I said, do you think, because I said I don't really see the churches working together like that. They seem to be a very competitive. Like, I know that there are some churches that neighbor with each other, but they're usually two big churches, working with each other, which is nothing wrong with that, but they don't filter that down to the smaller churches. They seem to be very competitive. Have you not noticed that?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So,
Competitive spirits.
yes. And so,
Being in that mode, I would not say that they are under the guidance of the Holy Spirit. I would not say they're under the guidance of the Most High. I would not say that. You know what I mean? I just wouldn't. He does not. The Most High does not cause for us to be in competition. The Most High doesn't cause for churches to be in competition. There is no glory at all for the people. There's no glory for him in people competing in ministry. Someone asked, so Raina Woman, what do you do in the church? Actually, at this time, I'm not very active in the church. I'm active in ministry, but I'm not very active in church.
Okay. Oh, Sheila E. said most of the smaller churches came from the big church. Interesting. You know what? And I think I know where she's coming from that, because a lot of small churches did branch out from bigger churches. Either it was because of a pastor, having a son or a brother or sister or sibling that wanted to start their own church, or one of the members wanted to start their own church. So she is right about that. but they don't. It just doesn't seem like they have a lot of support.
Well, smaller churches usually have other churches that they fellowship with, right? That they'll call their sister or their brother churches, and they come together and they do their thing. They're not really trying to compete necessarily with each other as a ministry, while there still may be competitive spirits among individuals in the church. I mean, which is something that we're just always going to have in one way or another, because no matter what, we're dealing with people, we're dealing with human beings. And human beings at different parts of growth, different parts of maturation in their faith, in their walk, or their lack thereof, right? So everyone is at a different place. And I think sometimes we don't consider that people are at a different place, even though they're at a same location.
Right.
Or partaking in the same activity.
You're right. Now, here's another thing too, and this is the last thing before I shut it down. But now, what if, because we don't have this grassroots on the ground, how can I say, overall community support from these churches? I mean, we have a lot of mega churches, but once again, one church can't do everything for everybody in the community. So why not just tear down all of these smaller churches? And there are a lot of people who are not even religious, like myself. I'm spiritual, but I'm not really religious, if that makes any sense, because I don't believe in organized religion. Like I said, I read my Bible at home. I'm more agnostic. An agnostic is not the same as atheist, by the way, y'all. Agnostics are different types. I am the type that believes that there is a higher being. I do read the Bible, but I don't believe in organized religion. That's my branch of agnosticism. So, with that being said, I would prefer if we had something in the community outside of a church, perhaps, that everybody would feel comfortable going to, so that we could focus on things that are community oriented if the church isn't going to do it. Because, like I said, we got a lot of things that we need to focus on. I don't think the church is addressing it.
But see, here's the thing, right? Honestly, as a believer, that's something that we're all supposed to have within us to do. The church is only a building, and it has responsibility, right? But
Right.
the biggest responsibility is of the individuals in the faith and of the faith. We are the church. We are the real church. We're supposed to be doing work outside of the building. See, we want a lot of times it's much easier to put a lot of light and a lot of, shall we say, disdain toward or disappointing comments towards the building or towards what people is more visible to people, is more recognizable, right? But it's also as easy as it is. Do y'all hear that storm? Father, do not let it flood, because I'm not in the mood, is what I'm saying. I don't want to have to pull the car in. Don't want to have to do any of that. I just, thank you. But
Lisa Kilpatrick has a question for you, Randy Womack. She says, at Faith, ask her, how has her church helped our men?
well, my church, the church that I'm a proud member of, has a lot of active men, a lot of different ages, a lot of active men, women, and youth, and programs for the elderly, programs for those that are locked up, programs for those that are sick and shedding, We have a school. We have a nursery. We have a whole sporting activity field. I mean, quite a lot. Quite a lot.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you are part of a wonderful church. What's the name of your church again?
Fallbrook,
Fallbrook.
yes.
Okay. All right. Well, Fallbrook is doing big things. It sounds like to me.
Fallbrook is doing godly things. There are no perfect places, there are no perfect churches, right? But Fallbrook is definitely under God's guidance. The pastor, Michael Pender, is definitely a man of God after God's own heart. He and his family definitely set a very good example.
Okay. All right. Well, it's almost time for me to jump off, guys. 'Cause I haven't actually started my food yet, and I'm getting hungry. But Mrs. Reigning Woman, thank you again for coming up here and answering my questions. And you have been most patient and you in answering the question and breaking things down and explaining it to us. You know, like I said, I really appreciate when people can come on here and they can, tackle these issues in a how can I say, intellectual way. That's what we don't have enough of. We don't have enough wisdom in our intellectuality in our communities. We have a lot of people that's hell bent on arguing and listening just to argue. And I don't listen just to argue. I listen to hear what the actual solutions are and to understand. And so again, Miss Reigning Woman, thank you again for gracing us with your appearance.
No, well, lady, thank you for having me, Faith. I really appreciate it. I look forward to joining you again around over here,
Oh,
if
absolutely.
you allow me.
Yes, I will. Most definitely. I will have you anytime.
Well, sister, you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you around these streets somewhere, I'm sure.
I'm in these YouTube streets. They gunning for me out here. I might be out here shot up and bleeding somewhere.
Oh! You can handle it. You can handle it, sis. You got it. And you got to keep backing up. We backers. All right. Have a good rest of your day, and thank you.
You're welcome. You too. All right, guys. Oh my God, this has been a wonderful stream. I did not expect to have such deep, insightful conversations. I think I must have the best subs in all of YouTube. You guys are awesome. Oh, hold on a second. Let me see. Oh yeah, Sheila says, Faith, Reigning Woman, and everyone have a wonderful, beautiful evening. Same thing to you, Sheila E. Yeah, I just want to end the stream. Oh, what's up, Water Sniper? Oh my goodness. Yes, I'm off tomorrow. I'm off actually 4 days this week. I'm usually off on Sunday, Mondays, and Tuesdays, but because of the holiday, I am also off on Wednesday. So I'm off Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday this week. I am so happy. Oh, Rainy Woman is back.
Yes, I apologize, Faith. I have to address this, Lisa. Is that her name in the chat? If you don't mind, please. And the reason why I want to address her is because she added me saying, Faith, Rainy Woman is full of ish. She's a sellout. So if it's okay with you, I would like to address this
Uh,
in a respectful way.
yes, as long as you guys are respectful, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So, Lisa, darling, I really don't know what your issue is, and I'm going to be quite frank about not caring. Okay. Um, this whole thing about me being a sellout and being full of ish, sis, if that's your opinion, you are very welcome to it. Okay. I'm not here to prove myself to you or anyone else. Reigning Woman just is. I just am who I am. Either you jive with it or you don't. Okay? Okay?
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, I see the comment. I just put it up on Sellout? How? I didn't hear anything that you said that would make you a sellout. She would have to explain that, but but not today. I'm about to close out. But yeah, I don't understand that at all. Okay.
She don't have to explain it unless you would like her to, because at the end of the day, the bottom line is this: Rain Woman is who she is just because she is. And either you jive with me or you don't. It's not going to make or break my day, so it's not going to make or break my life. Period.
Well, there you go. You heard it. And like I said, everybody, I am who I am. So, some days somebody may call me a sellout because they don't particularly agree with what I say. Everybody is not going to agree on everything. I haven't heard anything that my sister, Rainy Womb Man, has said that would put her in that category. But yeah, I don't know. This seems like something that happened somewhere else, and I don't want to bring that in here. So yeah. Anyway, thank you so much, Mrs. Rainy Woman, for coming back and eloquently addressing that without shooting up the spot.
No, ma'am. Okay, I'm out again. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye. Mwah.
Mwah. Thank you so much for coming in. You have a great one. All right. Some positivity. Come on, we were having positive vibes up in here, and I don't know what the hell happened. Yes, Sheila E. She Rainy Womb Man is good. She's my girl. I like her. Okay, but we're not gonna, dwell on that any further. Like I said, I wanted to end this on a good note, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm determined to do that. Save some food at Faith. Yeah, you know what? I was going to cook some steak the other day. I ended up not cooking it. I think I'm going to save my steak for the grill, because I think instead of me making pan seared, I'm going to grill those steaks, and I'm going to get me those big shrimp, and I'm going to get the little kebab sticks, and I'm going to get the onion and the green pepper and all of that, and I want to grill some shrimp kebabs, and I think I have some scallops in there. I'm not sure, but I think I might also do like a seafood boil. I haven't had a seafood boil in a while, so I think I want to do that as well. You guys know how to make those seafood boils? You know how you boil your corn, you cut your corn on the cob up and you put it in the pot, and then you take your potatoes and you cut those up, put it in the pot, boil them real good. Then you take them out the pot, then you put it in like a little pan or something, a bowl or something like that. Then what you do is you take your shrimp, you put your shrimp in the bowl, you put your onions in there, your green peppers and all that good stuff. And let me see, what else do you put in there? Oh, sausage. Cut you up some sausage. The shrimp and the sausage, those are your two meats. And you get some of that what do you call that seafood seasoning? The real good one. Oh my God, that seafood seasoning is life. But you get some of that and put it on there, some garlic powder, some pepper, and it's one more thing too that you put in there. But you mix it all up, okay? You throw it into a big old piece of aluminum foil, and you fold the aluminum foil up, throw that joker in the oven for about a good 15-20 minutes. Take it out, bam, you got yourself a good seafood broil, delicious, scrumdiddlyumptious. Thank me later. Yeah, Old Bay seasoning. Water Sniper knows what I'm talking about. Water Sniper knows. Well, at any rate, guys, that's how I wanted to end it. I want to punch it out on a high note. Bay leaves. At Bisme's right. Bay leaves. And Water Sniper's right. Old Bay seasoning. Kill 5169 says, I do lay turkey, chicken, sausage, and Creole seasoning. Ooh, girl, you done got fancy. We gonna have to swap recipes. Because I see you got some extra twist on yours. You got some Creole, what do you call it, New Orleans in your background. That's what it sounds like. Right, Water Sniper, Old Bay seasoning. That's what I meant to say. Kale says, I know about slave ship. Oh, never mind. Forget it. I don't want to go back into the Jesus conversation. Yeah, Old Bay seasoning. That's right, Water Sniper. But at any rate, let me get my behind up off of here. I'm sitting up here talking about what I'm going to cook for tomorrow, but I got to find something to cook tonight. Probably some baked chicken. Yeah, probably bake some chicken or something like that. It's got to be some, maybe some fried chicken. Yeah, I'll probably do some fried chicken and some, what do you call it? No, fried chicken, mashed potato, and some peas. I'm going to make it just real simple tonight. Something quick and simple. Oh, mac and cheese. That sounds pretty good too. Chef Disaster, mac and cheese. But I can't bake no mac and cheese right now. I'm hungry. I'm kind of starving. But anyway, y'all, I got to get up off of here. My stomach is literally growling. I can't believe that y'all can't hear it. Oh Lord. Oh yeah, let me just take that off. Yeah, so anyway, guys, I'm out of here. Thank you guys for blessing my stream. I really appreciate it. And once again, this has been Faith Jones coming at you once again with another one of my videos. Please like the video because it keeps me on top. And I am out.